The awareness of cultural relativism was thematized by the pre-Socratic philosophers who realized that judgment is very much dependent on one's perspective and situation. The philosopher Heraclitus illustrates this by means of comparison with different animals. In one surviving fragment, he's claimed to have said, quote, "The sea is the purest and most polluted water. To fish is drinkable and bringing safety, to humans undrinkable and destructive," end quote. Thus, the same substance can have a very different character depending on who the subject is. Along the same lines, he notes, quote, "Pigs rejoice in mud more than pure water." And with a variant, "Pigs wash themselves in mud, birds in dust or ash," end quote. The implicit contrast is, of course, human beings who wash in clean water. Once again, the point is that there's nothing that's absolute for every subject under every circumstance. From this, it makes sense that some cultures will value one thing and others another. Similarly, the philosopher Xenophanes is known for his criticism of the anthropocentric conception of the gods. This can be seen in varying ways in which different cultures portray their divinities. For example, he's said to have claimed, quote, "Ethiopians say that their gods are flat-nosed and dark. Thracians that theirs are blue-eyed and red-haired." The gods are thus a reflection of the physical appearance of the people that worships them. He puts a point on this by saying, quote, "If oxen and horses and lions had hands and were able to draw, horses would draw the shapes of gods to look like horses and oxen to look like oxen, and each would make the gods' bodies have the same shape as they themselves had," end quote. These views show a keen awareness of the relativity of custom and religious belief among the Greeks. Similarly, the traveling teachers of rhetoric, the sophists, are often portrayed as relativists in the dialogues of Plato. For example, in the Gorgias, Callicles quotes a variant of the line by Pindar that Herodotus refers to, quote, "Law is the king of all, of mortals as well as of immortals," end quote. He distinguishes between convention and nature and puts human law on the side of convention. Similarly, in the Republic, Thrasymachus advances an argument similar to that of Callicles in the Gorgias, that might makes right, since there's no deeper binding truth of justice beyond simple convention. In other words, the strongest declare that what they're doing is right and just, and there's no point in discussing the matter further since there's no independent criterion for justice. People sometimes think that cultural or moral relativism is a typically modern discovery that began in the 20th century with movements such as Dadaism, existentialism, postmodernism, and deconstruction. Advocates of these movements pride themselves on being disabused of the illusion of truth or the fixed value of anything. They chide their opponents for being old-fashioned, naive, and present themselves as advocates of a radical new way of thinking. But in fact, from these examples, it's clear that this was already a central object of discussion in the ancient world.